On Sunday morning, October 27th, 2024, my son called to tell me he was getting married the next day. I'm Beatrice Holloway, 62 years old, and I've been a widow for 3 years. When Connor said he'd withdrawn all my money and sold my house, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I laughed out loud, a sound that surprised even me. What my son didn't know was that the house he'd just sold for $340,000 wasn't the house I actually lived in. My name is Beatrice Ann Holloway, born June 12, 1962, in Cleveland, Ohio. For 37 years, I was wife to Robert James Holloway, mother to Connor Robert Holloway. Then, on February 14, 2001, Robert died in a car accident on Route 71. He was 49. I was 39. Connor was 11 years old. People see a quiet librarian who works part-time at Riverside Public Library, shelving books and helping patrons. They see someone gentle, perhaps lost since her husband died, certainly harmless. What they don't see is that before Connor was born, I spent 12 years as a paralegal at Henderson Mitchell & Associates in Columbus. I know contracts. I understand property law. I can spot fraud from a mile away because I helped prosecute it for over a decade. I left that career when Connor was born, became a stay-at-home mother, then took the library position when he started high school. But I never forgot what I learned. I never lost the instinct to document everything, to keep meticulous records, to understand that evidence is power. 3 months before that Sunday phone call, Connor started asking about my finances. July 23rd, the day after my birthday. "Mom, I've been thinking. You're living alone now, and I worry about you managing bills. What if you forgot to pay something? Let me help you set up automatic payments." "I'm 62, Connor, not 92. "I know, but humor me. Dad would have wanted me to look after you." That line got me. So I gave Connor access to my checking account, the one with about $4,000 for monthly expenses. Not my savings account with $127,000. Just the checking. "Thanks, Mom. This really helps me worry less." 6 weeks later, September 8th, Connor brought his girlfriend to dinner. Vanessa Pierce, 29 years old, with sharp beauty that made me think of cut glass, all edges and reflecting light. We sat in my dining room at 856 Maple Drive. I served pot roast. Vanessa picked at her food, her green eyes scanning the room constantly. "This is a lovely home, Beatrice," she said, not asking permission to use my first name. "Houses like this must be worth what? 500,000? 600? "I haven't had it appraised recently," I said, uncomfortable. Connor laughed. "Vanessa's interested in real estate, always looking at property values." Later, washing dishes, I heard Vanessa on her phone in the living room. "My house has good acoustics." "Yeah, she's got money. The house alone is worth at least 600,000, and Connor says she has savings. She never worked, so it's all Robert's insurance money. When she dies, it all goes to Connor anyway." I froze, hands in soapy water, listening to her discuss my death and assets as if I were already gone. Connor must have heard, too. "Vanessa, keep your voice down." "Sorry, babe," she said, not sounding sorry at all. A warning bell rang in my mind, but I dismissed it. Young people were more open about money. It didn't necessarily mean anything sinister. 2 weeks later, September 22nd, Connor emailed me. "Important documents. Please sign." "Hi, Mom. I'm attaching some routine insurance and medical forms. Can you print, sign, and send back?" I opened the attachments. 4 PDFs, 15 pages each, dense with legal jargon. My paralegal training kicked in, but the font was small, deliberately confusing. Then I remembered. I'd been sick the week before. Pneumonia. 4 days in Columbus Memorial Hospital, September 14th through 18th. Fever peaking at 104.3 degrees. I called Connor. "Did you bring me papers to sign in the hospital?" A pause. "Just insurance forms, Mom. You signed them on the 16th. I had a notary come. You don't remember? Your fever was really high." After we hung up, I tried to remember September 16th. Vague impressions of voices, of holding a pen, of signing something. But the memories were hazy, unreliable. I should have hired a lawyer right then. But he was my son, Surely I could trust him. That was my first real mistake. October 27th, 7:30 a.m. I sat at my kitchen table with coffee and laptop, checking my accounts. My Sunday morning habit. The page loaded. Checking account, $53.27. Savings account, $1,000. My savings had held $127,316 on October 20th. Transaction history showed October 24th, $50,000 to Connor R. Holloway, October 24th, $40,000 to Connor R.I. Holloway, October 25th, $36,316 to Connor R.I. Holloway. 3 transfers over 2 days, leaving just enough to keep the account open. My checking account, another $3,000, transferred to Connor on October 26th. I couldn't breathe. Then my phone rang. Connor's name on the screen. "Hey, Mom, great news. I'm getting married tomorrow. Vanessa and I decided not to wait. Small ceremony at the Riverside Country Club." My throat tightened. Connor, my bank accounts. "Oh, that. Yeah, I needed the money for the wedding and our new condo down payment. You'll be fine on Social Security, right? You took $127,000. Mom, technically I had authorization. Those papers you signed, power of attorney. You gave me access." I was delirious with fever. "That's not how the bank sees it." His voice hardened. "I'm your son. Everything you have comes to me eventually anyway. I just needed it sooner. Vanessa and I are building our future." "What about the house?" "Oh, right. I sold it yesterday. 1247 Oak Street, $340,000. Great price. The buyers take possession in 30 days, so you need to be out by November 26th. Maybe look into assisted living?" "Connor," my voice cut through his rambling. "I don't live at 1247 Oak Street." A pause. "What?" "That's my rental property. The Hendersons live there. They have 18 months left on their lease." Silence. Then, "Your rental property?" "The house I live in is 856 Maple Drive. It's in a trust." More silence. When Connor spoke, his voice was uncertain, afraid. "But you never told me." "No, I never did." That's when I laughed. It started small but grew, bubbling up from somewhere deep inside. I laughed until tears rolled down my cheeks. "Mom? What's so funny?" I wiped my eyes. "Connor, do you have any idea what you've just done?" "I sold your rental property. So what?" "You sold property you don't own with tenants who have a valid lease using fraudulent documents obtained by exploiting your sick mother. That's theft, fraud, and forgery. 3 felonies. "Mom, don't be dramatic. I'm your son." "Have a nice wedding, Connor. Enjoy it. It's going to be the last happy day you have for a very long time." I hung up. Underneath the shock and pain, something cold and hard was rising. Connor thought I was helpless. He had no idea who he was dealing with. I went to my filing cabinet and pulled out properties. Inside were deeds to 2 houses, 856 Maple Drive in the Robert Holloway Family Trust, and 1247 Oak Street in my name, Beatrice Ann Holloway. Next, the lease agreement. Tom and Linda Henderson moved in July 2021. Current lease, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026. Rent, $2,000 monthly. Connor had sold a house with sitting tenants without disclosing the lease. When those buyers discovered the occupied property, they'd sue him for fraud. I opened my laptop and started a new document. Timeline of financial abuse and fraud. Connor Robert Holloway. Then I began documenting everything. By Monday morning, October 28th, I had a plan. 9 a.m. Called my credit union. "I need to report fraud. Complete records of all transactions for 6 months. Ashley Porter, the representative, sympathized. "I'm so sorry, Mrs. Holloway. We'll investigate immediately. I need documentation of the power of attorney documents submitted to authorize these transfers. You'll have those within 3 business days." 10 a.m. Called David Richardson, a retired attorney from my book club. "David, my son stole my savings and fraudulently sold my property. I need legal representation. Pause. How much are we talking? $127,000 in theft. $340,000 in fraudulent sale proceeds. Jesus, yes, I'll help you. My office at 2 p.m.? 11 a.m. Called Tom Henderson at 1247 Oak Street. Tom, I need to tell you something upsetting. My son sold your house without my permission using fraudulent documents. Silence. He what? I explained calmly. Tom's voice was tight with anger. Some stranger thinks they bought our house. Your lease is valid and binding. You're protected. But I wanted you to know immediately. I may need you to provide statements. Whatever you need, Mrs. Holloway. Absolutely whatever you need. 1 p.m. Called Patricia Summers, my best friend. Patricia, can you come over? I need to tell you something. On my way. At 2 p.m., I sat in David Richardson's office on 3rd Street. He listened to my story without interrupting. When I finished, he removed his glasses. Beatrice, your son has committed multiple felonies, grand theft, fraud, forgery. This isn't civil. This is criminal. He could face 5 to 10 years. I know. Are you sure about this? He's your son. I met his eyes. He stole my life savings and tried to make me homeless. What kind of son does that? David pulled out a legal pad. First, file fraud reports. You've started. Second, contact the title company. Third, file a police report. You can request investigation before pressing charges. What about the buyers? They'll sue Connor for fraud. He'll be liable for the full purchase price plus damages. Good. Beatrice, what do you want? Punishment? Restitution? I thought about Connor's casual voice, so certain I wouldn't fight back. I want justice. I want every penny back, and I want him to understand that betrayal has consequences. Then let's build an ironclad case. We spent 2 hours preparing documents. By the time I left, I'd filed fraud claims with my credit union and the title company. The police report would be filed October 29th. My phone buzzed. Connor. Mom, why is the bank calling about fraud? What's going on? Me. The bank flagged the withdrawals as suspicious. Standard procedure. Connor. But I'm your son. Tell them it's fine. Me. Is it fine, Connor? You took $127,000 without permission. Connor. I had your permission. I borrowed it. We'll pay you back. I stared at borrowed, as if you could borrow without asking. I didn't respond. That evening, Patricia had wine poured and tissues ready. I told her everything. Her expression shifted from shock to fury to something like awe. That absolute bastard, she said. Maggie, I'm here for whatever you need. Can you help me organize my documentation? Bank statements, lease agreements, property deeds. I need everything categorized and copied. Consider it done. We sat drinking wine as October sun set outside. For the first time since that terrible call, I felt something other than betrayal. I felt determination. You know what the worst part is? I said softly. Not the money, not the house. It's that he thought I was too stupid or weak to fight back. Patricia squeezed my hand. He's about to learn his mother is neither stupid nor weak. That night, Connor texted, Mom, please come to the wedding tomorrow. I want you there. Let's not fight over money. I stared at the message for a long time, then typed, I'll be there. Let him think everything was fine. Let him marry his calculating bride and celebrate with my stolen money. Let him believe he'd gotten away with it. I would smile. I would take photos. I would play the proud mother. And then, when he least expected it, I would show him exactly what happened when you betrayed Beatrice Holloway. October 28th, 2024. The wedding was exactly what I expected. Expensive, showy, and paid for entirely with my stolen money. Riverside Country Club glittered with white roses and crystal chandeliers. I arrived at 2 p.m., wearing my navy blue dress, elegant, understated, and carrying a small gift wrapped in silver paper. Inside was a framed photo of Connor as a baby, one Robert had taken. I'd written on the back, May you always remember where you came from. Love, Mom. Vanessa looked stunning in a designer gown that probably cost $12,000. My $12,000. Connor stood beside her in a tuxedo, beaming like he didn't have a care in the world. When he saw me, he rushed over. Mom, you came. He hugged me tightly. I knew you'd understand. This is a fresh start for all of us. I pulled back, studying his face. Did he really believe that? Congratulations, Connor. You look very happy. Vanessa joined us, her smile sharp as broken glass. Beatrice, so glad you're not being difficult. Connor was worried, but I told him, you don't need that big house anymore anyway. We can build our future now. How thoughtful, I replied, my tone pleasant, but my eyes cold. The ceremony was brief. I sat in the front row watching my son promise to love and cherish this woman who'd helped him betray his own mother. Around me, 63 guests, I counted, laughed and dabbed at tears. Vanessa's parents, Frank and Diane Pierce, sat across the aisle. Diane kept glancing at me, her expression strangely guilty. During the reception, I made polite conversation with strangers, drank champagne I didn't taste, and took photos I'd never want to see again. The room sparkled with 300 white roses at $40 per arrangement, $12,000. The champagne was Veuve Clicquot at $200 per bottle, 15 bottles visible, $3,000. The 4-tier cake with sugar flowers, $1,800. I knew these prices because I'd helped plan Robert's company parties for years. This wedding cost at least $75,000, my $75,000. Just as they cut the cake, my phone buzzed. A text from David Richardson. Police investigation opened, fraud charges being prepared. Title company confirms notary seal fraudulent. Notary was in California on September 16th, not Ohio Hospital. You have him. I looked at Connor, laughing with his groomsmen, completely oblivious. Not yet, I thought. Let him enjoy this moment. It would be his last happy one for a very long time. October 31st, Halloween. How fitting. Connor and Vanessa appeared at my door at 856 Maple Drive, unannounced. Connor looked furious. Vanessa's expression was icy calculation. What the hell did you do? Connor demanded, pushing past me into my living room. The title company froze the money from the house sale. They're saying the power of attorney was forged. They're threatening criminal charges. I closed the door calmly. Perhaps because it was forged. You signed those papers. I was there. I signed blank papers while delirious with a fever of 104 degrees. You took advantage of your dying mother. Vanessa stepped forward. This is ridiculous, Beatrice. You're old. You can't manage your finances anymore. We were helping you. By stealing $127,000? It's not stealing if you're too senile to manage it yourself. Her mask slipped, revealing cold opportunism beneath. Connor is your son. Everything you have should go to him eventually anyway. We just needed it now. I kept my voice steady. So this was your plan? Find a man with a wealthy parent, manipulate him into stealing from her, then build your life on her money? Connor's face flushed. Don't talk about Vanessa like that. She loves me. She loves your inheritance, I corrected. Or what she thought was your inheritance. Vanessa laughed, harsh and ugly. You think you're so smart? Drop these accusations or we'll make your life hell. We'll tell everyone you have dementia. We'll have you declared incompetent. We'll put you in a nursing home. Is that a threat? It's a promise, Connor said, his voice low. Mom, I'm trying to be nice here. Just tell the bank and title company you made a mistake. Tell them you authorized everything. And if I don't? Connor stepped closer, looming over me. Then you'll find out how difficult your life can become. We have lawyers, too. We'll tie you up in court for years. We'll drain whatever money you have left. We'll make sure everyone knows you're a confused old woman who can't remember what she signed. For a moment, I felt genuine fear. Not of their threats. I had evidence on my side, but of what my son had become. This angry, threatening man was a stranger, but I had not survived 37 years alone by being weak. Get out of my house. I said, my voice like steel. Both of you, now. Mom, get out. You have 5 seconds. 1, 2. They left, Vanessa spitting curses, Connor's face twisted with rage. As their car pulled away, I sat down heavily, hands shaking. The mask was off. Now I knew exactly who I was dealing with. I called David Richardson. File the police report. Press full charges. I want them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Are you sure? Completely. The next week moved quickly. Detective James Morrison, 45, took my statement on November 2nd. He was thorough, professional, and increasingly disturbed by what he heard. Mrs. Holloway, I've seen a lot of elder financial abuse cases. This is one of the most calculated I've encountered. The credit union provided their findings on November 4th. The power of attorney's documents showed multiple irregularities. The notary seal belonged to Margaret Phillips, whose license expired August 30th, 2024. Margaret Phillips was in Sacramento, California on September 16th. Her credit card records proved it. My signature appeared shaky, inconsistent with my normal handwriting. The documents were dated September 16th, but weren't filed with the bank until September 22nd. William Bradford, CEO of Pinnacle Title Company, called on November 5th. Mrs. Holloway, I owe you an apology. We failed to catch these irregularities. We've frozen all proceeds from the sale, $340,000. Mr. Holloway won't see a penny. What about the buyers? The Martinez family. They're devastated. They're suing your son for fraud, breach of contract, and emotional distress. They put their entire life savings into that down payment. Guilt twisted in my stomach. Can you give me their contact information? I'd like to speak with them. I'll have my assistant send it over. That afternoon, I called Rosa Martinez. She answered, her voice cautious. Mrs. Holloway? Mrs. Martinez, I'm so deeply sorry. I had no idea my son would do this. Your family is innocent in all of this. Rosa's voice cracked. We have 3 children, Mrs. Holloway. We saved for 12 years to buy that house. We thought we finally had our dream home. I promise you, your lease will be honored. The Hendersons will move out when their lease ends in June 2026. After that, if you still want the house, I'll sell it to you at the price you paid, $340,000. Silence, then soft crying. Thank you so much. Patricia came over that evening with wine and support. We organized my documentation into 3 complete sets, one for David, one for the police, one for me. Maggie, how are you holding up? She asked. I'm angry. I'm hurt, but I'm also clear about what needs to happen. No doubts? None. Connor made his choice. Now he lives with the consequences. November 8th, 2024. I was at the library, shelving returns in the biography section, when my phone chimed. An email from an unknown address, truthteller2024@protonmail.com. Subject line, you should know the truth about Connor. My hands trembled as I opened it. Mrs. Holloway, I'm writing anonymously because I'm afraid of retaliation, but you deserve to know. Connor has a 5-year-old daughter named Emma Rose Holloway. The mother is Sarah Mitchell. They dated in college. Sarah got pregnant their senior year. Connor told her to get an abortion. When she refused, he abandoned her. Sarah sued for child support 2 years ago. The court ordered Connor to pay $1,500 per month plus $80,000 in back support. Vanessa doesn't know about Emma. Connor has been secretly taking money from you to pay Sarah off and make her go away. Emma deserves better. So do you, a concerned friend. I stood frozen in the biography aisle, surrounded by the life stories of strangers, while my son's secret exploded in my hands. A granddaughter. I had a granddaughter. I searched Facebook on my phone with shaking fingers. Sarah Mitchell, Columbus, Ohio. Her profile was partially public. The most recent photo, posted 3 days ago. A little girl with dark curls and Connor's exact smile, wearing a purple dress, blowing out 5 candles on a birthday cake. The caption read, Happy 5th birthday to my Emma Rose. You're my whole world, even if your father refuses to acknowledge you exist. I felt my knees weaken. Patricia found me 20 minutes later, sitting on the floor between the shelves, phone in my hand, tears streaming down my face. Maggie, what happened? I showed her the email, the photos. Oh my God, Patricia whispered. You have a granddaughter. November 10th, I drove to Columbus with Patricia. Sarah Mitchell lived in a small apartment complex on Parsons Avenue, Unit 2C. I knocked at 2 p.m. as we'd arranged by phone. Sarah opened the door, 33 years old, tired eyes but kind face. Mrs. Holloway, please come in. The apartment was tiny but spotlessly clean. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. A small bookshelf held worn copies of Dr. Seuss and chapter books. Thank you for agreeing to see me, I said. I never wanted to destroy Connor, Sarah said quietly. I just wanted help raising Emma. She asks about her father every single day. Where is she now? Kindergarten. She'll be home at 3:30. Sarah poured coffee with shaking hands. Mrs. Holloway, I need you to know. I loved Connor once. He was charming, ambitious, kind. Or I thought he was. When I got pregnant, he changed overnight. Told me I was ruining his life. Offered me $10,000 to take care of it. I'm so sorry. When I kept Emma, he disappeared, blocked my number, changed jobs so I couldn't find him. I struggled alone for 3 years before I finally hired a lawyer and sued for support. The $80,000? Sarah nodded. 3 years of back support plus legal fees. The court ordered it. Connor paid $50,000 last year. I think that's when he started stealing from you. Then suddenly, 2 months ago, he paid the remaining $30,000. I thought maybe he'd finally grown up. She laughed bitterly. I had no idea he was using his mother's money. At 3:45, we heard small footsteps on the stairs. The door burst open. Mommy! Emma Rose Holloway was beautiful. Dark curly hair like Sarah's, but Connor's brown eyes, Connor's smile, Robert's nose. She wore a pink backpack covered in unicorn stickers. She stopped when she saw strangers in her living room. Who are they? Sarah knelt down. Emma, this is Mrs. Holloway. She's your grandmother, your daddy's mother. Emma's eyes went wide. My daddy's mommy? I couldn't speak. I just nodded. Emma walked over cautiously. Mommy says my daddy lives far away. Do you know where he is? Yes, sweetheart. I know where he is. Does he think about me sometimes? My heart shattered. I think he thinks about you all the time. He's made some mistakes. Grown-up mistakes. Emma studied my face with those serious 5-year-old eyes. Mommy says everyone makes mistakes. She says the important thing is saying sorry and trying to be better. Your mother is very wise. Emma suddenly smiled, Connor's smile, and my heart broke all over again. Do you want to see my drawings? I'm really good at cats. November 15th, 2024. Preliminary hearing at Franklin County Courthouse. Connor appeared with his attorney, James Sullivan, a sharp-dressed defense lawyer specializing in white-collar crime. I arrived with David Richardson. Detective Morrison was there. Sarah Mitchell sat in the back row, Emma at her grandmother's house for the day. Connor looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, suit wrinkled, hands shaking. When his eyes met mine, I saw genuine fear. Judge Helen Pritchard, 62, presided. She reviewed the evidence David presented. Bank records, fraudulent power of attorney documents, title company findings, detective's report. Mr. Holloway, Judge Pritchard said, the evidence here is overwhelming. The prosecution is prepared to file formal charges of grand theft, fraud, and forgery. Do you understand the seriousness of these allegations? Yes, Your Honor, Connor whispered. Before we proceed, does anyone wish to make a statement? I stood. Your Honor, may I speak? Proceed, Mrs. Holloway. I looked directly at Connor. Connor, before this goes further, tell me about Emma. Connor's face went white as snow. Vanessa, sitting behind him, looked confused. Emma? Who's Emma? Connor, I said quietly. Tell them about your daughter. The courtroom went silent. Connor's attorney leaned over, whispering urgently. Connor shook his head, tears suddenly streaming down his face. Your Honor, Connor said, his voice breaking. I need to make a statement. Judge Pritchard looked surprised. Go ahead, Mr. Holloway. Connor stood, shaking. I have a 5-year-old daughter named Emma Rose. Her mother is Sarah Mitchell. I abandoned them when Sarah was pregnant. I pretended she didn't exist because I was ashamed, because Vanessa's family is wealthy and wouldn't accept a man with a secret child. Vanessa gasped behind him. What? 2 years ago, Sarah sued me for child support. The court ordered me to pay $80,000 in back support. I didn't have it. I panicked. He turned to me, tears flowing freely. Mom, I needed that money to pay Sarah off, to make her go away, to hide my mistakes. So I took yours. The truth hung in the air like smoke. I stole from my mother to cover up the fact that I abandoned my daughter. I'm a coward. I'm a thief. I don't deserve mercy. He looked at Vanessa, who was staring at him with horror and disgust. I don't deserve love. I don't deserve family. He collapsed back into his chair, sobbing. Vanessa stood abruptly. I can't do this. She walked out of the courtroom, her heels clicking on marble. Judge Pritchard studied Connor for a long moment. Mr. Holloway, I appreciate your honesty, however belated. We'll recess for 30 minutes. I suggest you use that time to speak with your attorney about your options. As the courtroom emptied, I walked over to Connor. He looked up at me, face wet with tears. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Connor, I said quietly, sorry isn't enough. Sorry is just words. You need to become the man your daughter deserves, the man your father raised you to be. How? How do I fix this? You start by facing the consequences of your choices. All of them. I walked away, leaving my son broken in that courtroom. Patricia met me in the hallway. Maggie, are you okay? No, I said, but I will be. Because now I knew the full truth. And the truth, however painful, was the only way forward. November 20th, 2024, 5 days before Thanksgiving. I was in my kitchen at 856 Maple Drive, making tea, when the doorbell rang. A woman stood on my porch, late 50s, elegant silver hair, expensive coat. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. Mrs. Holloway? I'm Diane Pierce, Vanessa's mother. May I please speak with you? I considered closing the door. Instead, I stepped back. Come in. We sat in my living room. Diane's hands shook as she pulled an envelope from her purse. I need to give you this. I should have given it to you years ago. What is it? The truth. She handed me the envelope. Please, read it. Then I'll explain everything. I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten on cream-colored stationery, dated November 18th, 2024. Dear Mrs. Holloway, 23 years ago, on February 14th, 2001, your husband Robert saved my life. I was driving on Route 71 with my 6-year-old daughter Vanessa in the back seat when I lost control of my car during an ice storm. We spun into oncoming traffic. Robert was driving toward us. He could have swerved away, saved himself. Instead, he deliberately steered his car to take the impact, protecting us. His car absorbed the collision. Vanessa and I walked away with minor injuries. Robert James Holloway died so that my daughter could live. I've carried this guilt for 23 years. When Vanessa started dating Connor 2 years ago, I saw it as perhaps fate's way of letting me repay the debt. I encouraged their relationship. I even suggested they ask you for financial help because I thought Robert would have wanted his family to help the people he died saving. I know what Connor did was wrong. I know Vanessa encouraged him. But please understand, we owe everything to your husband. We're not trying to hurt you. We're just trying to honor his sacrifice in the only way we knew how. I'm so deeply sorry for the pain we've caused. With profound respect and shame, Diane Catherine Pierce. The letter fell from my hands. My vision blurred. You were in the other car? My voice came from far away. Diane was crying. Yes, I've lived with this guilt every single day. When I met Connor at a charity gala 2 years ago and learned he was Robert Holloway's son, I thought God was giving me a chance to make things right. By encouraging your daughter to help him steal from me? No, I never told Vanessa about the accident. I didn't want her carrying that burden. I just encouraged their relationship, suggested that Robert would want you to help Connor succeed. I thought if you knew, if you remembered, you'd want to help the child your husband died saving. I stood abruptly, pacing. Does Connor know about this? No, neither does Vanessa. I kept it secret for 23 years because I was ashamed. Ashamed that a good man died because of my careless driving. Ashamed that I survived when he didn't. Get out. Mrs. Holloway, get out of my house now. Diane left, sobbing. I stood in my living room, Robert's sacrifice weighing on me like stones. He died saving Vanessa Pierce. The woman who helped destroy me was alive because my husband gave his life for her. That night, Patricia found me sitting in the dark, the letter on the table beside me. Maggie, David called. He's worried. You missed your meeting with him today. I showed her the letter. Patricia read it twice, then sat down heavily. Oh my God. Robert died saving her, Patricia. He died saving the woman who helped Connor steal from me. What do I do with that? Maggie, Robert's sacrifice doesn't erase what they did. It doesn't mean you owe them anything. Doesn't it? Robert gave his life for that little girl. Does that create a debt? Some kind of moral obligation? No. Robert made a split-second choice to save lives. That was his character, his goodness. But Vanessa and Connor made calculated choices to betray you. Those are completely different. I looked at my best friend. Then why do I feel like I'm betraying Robert by prosecuting them? Because you have a good heart. But Maggie, Connor stole from you. He abandoned his daughter. He forged documents. Those crimes don't disappear because of something Robert did 23 years ago. I know, but everything is more complicated now. The next morning I called David Richardson. I need to talk to Connor. Can you arrange it? Beatrice, I advise against direct contact. Please, David. One conversation. That's all I'm asking. November 22nd, 2024. David's office. Connor arrived at 10 a.m., looking worse than at the hearing. Unshaven, hollow-eyed. He sat across from me, unable to meet my eyes. Vanessa wasn't with him. She left, Connor said quietly, answering my unspoken question. Filed for divorce the day after the hearing. Her parents are helping her with the annulment since we'd only been married 3 weeks. I'm sorry, he laughed bitterly. Are you? I destroyed everything. My marriage, my career, my relationship with you. I hurt Sarah. I abandoned Emma. I'm a monster, Mom. You made terrible choices, I corrected. That doesn't make you irredeemable. Connor finally looked up. Why did you want to see me? I pulled out Diane's letter. Because I learned something that changes everything. I handed him the letter. He read it slowly, his face going pale. Dad died saving Vanessa? Yes. I didn't know. I swear to God, Mom, I didn't know. Neither did Vanessa. Diane kept it secret. Connor put his head in his hands. This makes it so much worse. Dad was a hero, and I'm the opposite of everything he was. Connor, I need to ask you something, and I need complete honesty. Why did you really do this? Not the surface reasons, the real truth. He was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. I was terrified. Terrified that if anyone found out about Emma, my whole carefully constructed life would collapse. Vanessa's family has money, connections. They expected me to be successful, perfect. A man with a secret child he abandoned? That's not perfect. That's shameful. So you stole from your mother to maintain a lie. Yes, and every choice led to another worse choice. The lies piled up. The desperation grew, until I convinced myself I deserved your money because you didn't need it as much as I did. That's how twisted my thinking became. I studied my son, broken, ashamed, finally telling the truth. Connor, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. After that, we have the trial. The prosecutor wants 5 to 7 years in prison. David says he can probably negotiate it down to 3 with probation. What do you want? What I want doesn't matter. It matters to me, and it matters to Emma. Connor's eyes filled with tears at his daughter's name. I want to be the father Emma deserves. But I don't know if that's possible now. It's possible, but it requires real change, Connor. Not just words, not just apologies, real accountability and transformation. Will you drop the charges? No, but I'll talk to the prosecutor about a different kind of justice. One that gives you a chance to become the man your father was, the man who saves people instead of hurting them. December 10th, 2024. Franklin County Courthouse. Judge Helen Pritchard, presiding. The courtroom was packed. Connor sat with James Sullivan. David Richardson sat beside me. In the back row, Sarah Mitchell held Emma's hand. Patricia, Tom, and Linda Henderson, Rosa Martinez and her family, all there to witness justice. Also present, Diane Pierce, sitting alone, looking smaller somehow. The prosecutor, Andrea Walsh, presented her case methodically. Bank records, forged documents, expert testimony. The evidence was overwhelming. Then it was time for victim impact statements. Tom Henderson went first. Connor Holloway almost destroyed my family's sense of security. We thought we were going to lose our home. Mrs. Holloway's integrity saved us. Rosa Martinez spoke next, her voice shaking. My family's life savings, 12 years of sacrifice, almost disappeared because of fraud. Mrs. Holloway's honesty gave us hope again. Then I stood. Your Honor, Connor Holloway is my only child. He committed serious crimes against me, crimes motivated by fear, desperation, and poor judgment. But he's also the father of my 5-year-old granddaughter, Emma. I paused, looking at Connor. I don't want vengeance. I want my son to become the man his father would have been proud of. His father, who 23 years ago gave his life to save strangers. That's the legacy Connor should be living up to. I turned to Judge Pritchard. I'm asking for a sentence that holds Connor accountable while giving him a chance to be the father Emma deserves. Connor's attorney called one witness, Sarah Mitchell. Miss Mitchell, James Sullivan said, what kind of father has Connor been to Emma? Absent, Sarah said honestly. Until recently, he denied she existed. But she hesitated. 3 weeks ago, Connor contacted me. He visited Emma. He cried when he held her. He's starting therapy. He's beginning to take responsibility. Do you believe he can change? I believe people can change if they truly want to. I'm not sure yet if Connor truly wants to, but Emma deserves a father who tries. Finally, Connor took the stand. His attorney guided him through his testimony, the financial pressure, the secrets, the cascade of bad decisions. Then Andrea Walsh cross-examined. Mr. Holloway, you testified that you felt pressure from Vanessa's family, but you made the choice to steal, didn't you? Yes. You made the choice to forge documents. Yes. You made the choice to abandon your daughter for 5 years? Connor's voice broke. Yes, I made those choices. Nobody forced me. I was a coward who put my image above everything. Above my mother, above my daughter, above basic human decency. Why should this court show you mercy? It shouldn't. I don't deserve mercy. But Emma deserves a father who can support her, even if that father is deeply flawed. That's all I'm asking for. A chance to be present for my daughter, even while paying for my crimes. The courtroom was silent. Judge Pritchard called for a 30-minute recess before sentencing. When court reconvened, Judge Pritchard looked stern. Mr. Holloway, I've presided over hundreds of fraud cases. Yours is particularly troubling because you exploited the person who loved you most, your own mother. You forged documents. You abandoned your child. You showed no remorse until you were caught. Connor stood, tears streaming down his face. However, Judge Pritchard continued, I also see genuine remorse now. I see a man beginning to take responsibility. I see a child who needs her father. Justice must be served, but justice can also allow for redemption. She paused. Connor Robert Holloway, you are hereby found guilty of grand theft, fraud, and forgery. I sentence you to 18 months in Franklin County Jail, followed by 5 years of supervised probation. Additionally, you will make full restitution to your mother, $127,000 plus interest, to be paid over 10 years. You will also establish a legal custody arrangement with Sarah Mitchell and attend mandatory therapy. Connor collapsed into his chair, sobbing with relief. 18 months, not 5 years. County jail, not state prison. A chance. Judge Pritchard wasn't finished. Mr. Holloway, I'm giving you an opportunity your father never got. A second chance at life. Don't waste it. Court adjourned. I stood in my garden at 856 Maple Drive, planting roses. It was a Saturday morning, warm and bright. Patricia was inside making lemonade. A car pulled up. Connor got out, followed by a small girl with dark curls who immediately ran toward me. Grandma B! Emma threw herself into my arms, smelling like strawberry shampoo. I held her tight, this miracle I'd almost never known. I made you a picture at school, Emma said, pulling out a crayon drawing of 3 figures holding hands. That's you, that's me, and that's Daddy. It's beautiful, sweetheart. Connor walked over slowly. He looked different, thinner, older, but healthier somehow, clear-eyed, sober in a way he'd never been before. Hi, Mom. Connor, how are you? 93 days sober, 42 days out of jail, starting my new job as an accountant on Monday, not finance, but honest work. Sarah and I have joint custody now. I see Emma every weekend. He paused. I'm paying you back. $1,200 a month for the next 8 years. It's in your account. I saw. Thank you. Mom, I know I can never fully make this right, but I'm trying. Every single day I'm trying to be the man Dad was. I looked at my son, this flawed, broken man who was finally, slowly, becoming someone better. Your father would be proud that you're trying. That's what matters. Emma tugged my hand. Grandma, can we plant flowers together? Of course, sweetie. We knelt in the dirt together, 3 generations, planting roses while Patricia brought out lemonade and cookies. Later that afternoon, after Connor and Emma left, I sat on my porch with Patricia, watching the sunset. Any regrets? Patricia asked. I thought about everything, the betrayal, the pain, the long road to this fragile peace. No, I chose justice over vengeance. I chose accountability over enabling, and I got Emma out of it. You got your self-respect, too. Yes, that most of all, Thanksgiving Day. My kitchen at 856 Maple Drive was full of voices and laughter. Tom and Linda Henderson and their teenage daughter, Rosa Martinez and her 3 children. She'd bought 1247 Oak Street in July after the Hendersons moved out, just as I'd promised. Patricia and her husband Michael, David Richardson and his wife, Sarah Mitchell and Emma, Connor, sober for 16 months, setting the table, and in the corner, looking uncertain, Diane Pierce. I'd invited her last week. It took that long to forgive her, to understand that she'd been carrying her own burden of guilt for 23 years. Thank you for including me, Diane said quietly. I don't deserve... We all deserve second chances, I interrupted. That's what I've learned. Robert gave his life for yours. The least I can do is share a meal with you. Tears streamed down her face. He was a hero. Yes, he was. And now it's our job to live in a way that honors his sacrifice. Before dinner, I stood at the head of the table, everyone quieted. I'm 64 years old now, I began. 2 years ago, I thought I'd lost everything. My money, my security, my son. But what I actually lost was my illusions. I learned that love without boundaries isn't love. It's enabling. I learned that family doesn't mean accepting abuse. And I learned that the greatest victory isn't revenge. It's rebuilding. I looked around the table, at faces scarred by betrayal but healing through truth, at relationships broken but mending through accountability. Robert used to say that the measure of a life isn't what you accumulate, but what you give and who you save. He saved Diane and Vanessa. Today, I hope I've helped save Connor from himself. And in doing so, I saved the most precious thing, my relationship with my granddaughter. Emma smiled at me, her face smeared with cranberry sauce. So today I'm thankful, not for the easy road, but for the hard one that taught me who I really am. I'm thankful for friends who stood by me. I'm thankful for justice that allowed for mercy. And I'm thankful that at 64 years old, I'm stronger than I've ever been. To Grandma B, Emma shouted, raising her juice cup. Everyone raised their glasses. To Beatrice. Later, after everyone left, I sat alone in my garden as November darkness fell. The house behind me glowed warm with light. Inside, Patricia was helping me clean up. Connor had promised to return tomorrow to help winterize the garden. My phone buzzed. A message from Connor. Thank you for not giving up on me, Mom. I love you. I typed back. I never gave up on you. I gave up on enabling you. There's a difference. I love you too. I looked up at the stars, thinking of Robert, wondering if he could see what his sacrifice had created. Not just the life of the child he'd saved, but this tangled, complicated, beautiful family that had grown from the ashes of betrayal. I did my best, Robert, I whispered to the night sky. With everything you left me, the money, the house, the strength, I did my best to be worthy of your sacrifice. The stars didn't answer, but somewhere deep inside, I felt peace. Because at 64 years old, I'd learned the most important lesson of all. Real love means holding people accountable. Real family means honoring truth above comfort. And real victory isn't destroying your enemies, it's saving them from themselves, even when they don't deserve it. Especially when they don't deserve it. That's what heroes do. And maybe, just maybe, that's what Robert's widow had finally learned to do as well.